Roll call vote, Shay. Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. We will now go to Riverview Excellence. Should I have announcements before that?
Oh, no,
No.
my bad.
No problem.
It was
Yes,
added.
my bad.
Good morning, Special Administrative Board. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, technical difficulties. Portraits wouldn't stick up. It's just one of those evenings, but that's all right. Good evening. Administrative Board, Superintendent, colleagues, and community. I'll be here briefly with you today. I want to introduce Ms. Barbara Sharp, the president of Iota Phi Lambda, the Alpha Zeta chapter of Iota Phi Lambda sorority, and she will be introducing one of her colleagues as they make a presentation to the board tonight. Sharp.
Loud.
Good evening to Special Administrative Board, to colleagues, and certainly to the community. Tonight, I'm pleased to come before you to present my sisters from Iota Phi Lambda sorority Alpha Zeta chapter. We are here because we care. We care about this district, and we care about educators specifically. And certainly it is an opportunity for us to continue to give back. So I will introduce my Sarah Paula Sams, who is first vice president of our organization. She also serves as the 2022 Apple for the Teacher Chair. We also have Doritha Adams. She is also a member of the American Education Committee. And so I will let my first vice president and my chair of this event do what she does so greatly.
Good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Dr. Joylyn Pruitt Adams, and members in the audience. During the month of November, Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated joins community and educational organizations to promote public education. Because of Riverview Garden School District's continued support of Alpha Zeta's chapter's signature event, the Apple for the Teacher Luncheon, we would like to award the school district with a one-time $1,000 scholarship. This scholarship will be awarded to a female high school graduating senior planning to major in business. We will work with your high school counseling team on the application and selection process. Again, Alpha Zeta chapter thanks you for your continued support.
Thank you.
We're also pleased to have with us the principal of Riverview Gardens High School, and so we would ask if she would come forward with us as well. We are extremely appreciative for all of the support.
Mixing the colors.
Yes.
Three, two, one.
Oh. Ms. Fields, are there any patrons that would like to speak before the board tonight?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We will then move to announcements. Before I make my announcements. Does anybody have any announcements? Okay. For some time, we have been discussing creating a statement for just for the benefit of our patrons, our parents, our students, our staff with regards to charter school. And I want to thank Ms. Wanda Lane for submitting some suggestions and some ideas to help create this statement. I'm going to take the opportunity to read it now. To the students, parents, staff, and stakeholders of Riverview Gardens School District. The Riverview Gardens Special Administrative Board is committed to governing our district in an efficient and effective manner by providing leadership and representation to benefit the students, parents, staff, and stakeholders of our school district, and serve as an advocate for public education at the local, state, and national levels. You are receiving this correspondence as part of our commitment to being transparent and keeping you informed of matters that involve our school district and the community at large. Today, we wish to share our position on charter schools within the Riverview Gardens School District community. This is in response to an inquiry made to our Board of Education asking if we would consider sponsoring a charter school within the district, and also to counter the efforts that are being made within our Riverview Gardens community by supporters of charter schools to recruit select students to attend charter schools. Our position is that we do not support charter schools and therefore will not consider sponsorship of a charter school within the Riverview Gardens School District community. Advocates of charter schools have focused their attention on the communities that feed into Riverview Gardens School District. They have sent mailers and have canvassers in our community telling parents and district stakeholders that charter schools are free public schools. You need to know that charter schools differ from traditional public schools in that they, number one, have more operational autonomy. Number two, are run by charter management organizations that they call sponsors, but are actually businesses. Three, offer no ties to the local community. And four, target urban communities. By Missouri law, charter schools have no accountability for student achievement or financial management of taxpayer dollars. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education does not accredit charter schools or monitor their curriculum to hold them accountable. Many are failing to educate our children, but they are shielded by the state laws. We would remind you of the strengths of our district. We are provisionally accredited. We have sports teams, special education services, a health clinic, new counseling services, and we are accountable for learning. Unlike the 383 public school districts that have formed the Missouri School Board Association to, number one, support quality and equitable education for all Missouri students, two, advocate for public education at the legislature, three, offer continuous education for those who seek to serve on school boards, and four, share best practices collectively. Many charter schools operate independent of one another. As a Board of Education, we are charged with the responsibility to make decisions that are best for our children, for all our children. Although at this time, no charter school has requested to move into the district, and we realize that our position does not stop a charter school from moving into our district, should they decide to do so. We wanted to be forthcoming with our position regarding this matter. This in partnership, the Riverview Gardens Special Administrative Board. Also at this time, the statement I need to read. Local board member completes training. Shannon Holt, a member of the Riverview Gardens Board of Education, completed 18.5 hours of training required by state law. The essential new board member training sponsored by the Missouri School Board Association combined online independent study with on-site interactive sessions and was held at St. Charles, Missouri on June 10th, 2022. The new board member training places a strong emphasis on improving student achievement by providing guidance to board members on effective school board leadership. Some of the topics addressed include effective board operations, including information on the role of the school board in providing oversight of a school district, important school laws, establishing school district policies, fundamentals of school finance, protecting students from sexual misconduct, and the important role the school board plays in establishing school district goals and monitoring progress. I would like at this time to present his certificate to him, certificate of appreciation. This is to certify that Shannon Hope, Riverview Gardens, has successfully completed the essential board member certification. 18.5 hours of training as required by the state of Missouri. August 22nd, 2022, and it's signed by Ray Murphy, MSBA President, and Melissa Randall, MSBA Executive Director. Yeah, come over Your picture and Miss BAP. Oh, thank you. Picture. Yeah. I told Shannon he needs to do stand up. This time we're going to call for our student representatives. We'll start with our precious Mary. Let's go first.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Corinne Adams, colleagues, students, and community. I'm here today to give you the students' report. First, we want to acknowledge everyone that they had a safe and sound holiday. As we come back into the buildings, we want to continue instructive and cooperative learning and finish our first semester of the school. Secondly, we want to encourage students to utilize our paper tutoring app. The app is called Paper. It is very accessible for all students K through 12 to get on and receive extra help through all courses. Third, after this week of school, we have 2 more weeks left to Christmas break. La, 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 la. Now we have United. Hello, everyone. I am United Hill, also Miss Hill, or Miss Hill. Okay. So I'm just gonna add on to what she was saying. For the next 2 weeks, we're gonna be prepping the students to take the ACT on December the 10th. The main thing that we want to encourage them to do is, of course, get rest, eat breakfast, and just breathe before they start the test. And also, the semester is ending, so on the announcements, we want to encourage students to talk to the teachers if they're failing any classes. We want them to communicate that so the grades can improve and they can have a good semester grade. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you both for the report. We will now turn it over to our superintendent for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of announcements. One is that next Monday and Tuesday, December 5th and 6th, I have the opportunity of being selected to participate in an African-American Jewish Institute trip that is designed to build and strengthen relationships across racial lines. It is the hope that after this trip, there are 30 of us that have been identified that we will come back and develop a plan as a result of our learning for an action-oriented program organized to begin to bridge those gaps across racial lines. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, on December the 13th, we will host a town hall immediately after the SAB meeting. And so that meeting will be at Westview Middle School. The closed session will actually start at 6. So it is our hope to start the town hall at 7. The intent behind that is to focus on school safety and student mental health. And so we are going to take off the bandages and share our data. Share our data so that people know some of those things we're struggling with, and the fact that we don't teach a course on bullying. We don't teach courses on fighting. We don't teach those things, yet in today's world, it has become apparent that schools get blamed for all of that. And so we want to put it out there that this is now a community effort. And so we're inviting the police departments, all of them that feed into our school district. We're inviting public officials to include Sam Page, Wesley Bell, Brian Williams, Marlene Terry, Edwin Mosley, Kenneth Gregory, and all of the mayors that feed into our district as well. We also will have representatives from our mental health partners. That will be such as, we also have the Urban League, Boys and Girls Club, Soul Fisher, Chaz Coalition, BJC, Lutheran Family Services, Presbyterian Services, and CARE STL. It is our hope that during that meeting, we will come together as a community to really address the things that seem to be impacting student performance, fighting, social media, those types of things that we really need help with. We will offer a light dinner, because we know if you feed them, they will come. We will also be offering daycare. So that those parents who usually don't attend because they don't have childcare, we will have that. And so I'm putting that out there. We want as many teachers, as many students, as many of our parents and our community members to come out, because this is not just a Riverview Gardens issue, it's a community issue. So that's my public service announcement on that. And then I do want to piggyback on the announcement that was made earlier from Apple for the Teacher. As we talked about in the last board meeting, we have 4 of our teachers who were honored. But at that event also, Precious Berry received a certificate and a gift for her submission to the scholarship application process. The essay, and I think she was 3rd place as an essay writer. So congratulations. That concludes my announcement. So now we go into our discussion items. Our first item is the MSBA Full Maintenance Policy Service. This is a discussion item. We currently use MSBA for our services, of our policies and so forth. And this is just a continuation of that agreement. It does have a budget impact of $3,888. And we will be asking that the board approve this later in this meeting. Are there any questions? Our next item is the RGHS commencement ceremony at UMSL facility agreement. Making that presentation is our principal, Ms. Tracy May. This is in compliance with policy IKFB. Ms. May.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt-Adams, colleagues, scholars, and community. I come before you this evening to request, make a recommendation for the use of the University of Missouri St. Louis as the host site for the commencement ceremony for the 2023 school year or 2023 class. This year's budgeted impact for this, we have used UMSL for the past 10 years. It is up from $10,500 in previous years to now $12,000 for the use of the facility. And I imagine that's including some costs that they are incurring as well for the use of the facility. So as such, Riverview Gardens High School is recommending that the Special Administrative Board accept the facility use agreement submitted by University of Missouri St. Louis and allow the university to serve as a site for the 2023 commencement ceremony, tentatively scheduled for Thursday, May 25th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the summary of fund balance report for the month ending October 31st. This is a compliance with policy DIAA fund balances. Making this presentation is Dr. Lamont Singleton, CFO.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board.
Good evening.
No, I don't need a microphone. Dr. Pruitt-Adams, colleagues and community. Tonight I will be presenting the fund balance report for the month ending October 31st, 2022. And I believe that we can put it on the screen for those that need to view it. The second page. Yep, okay. So again, on the second page of our fund balance summary, list all of our funds, the general fund, teachers fund, debt service, etc. And then the columns going across talks about the fiscal year where we ended. The two most important columns to me are the middle two columns. It looks at year-to-date revenues and expenditures for, again, those 4 months ending October 31st, 2022. As you can see, year-to-date, we've collected about $22.8 million. We've spent about $21.8 million. So it's always good when you're collecting more revenues than you are spending. On the next page, it talks about the grant revenues and grant expenditures. And so if we can look at our expenditures, the budget is about 30. The second column looks at the revised budget, which is about $34.6 million. Our encumbrances or outstanding bills that have not yet been paid. And then in the actual column, you see what we've actually spent, about $5.3 million, which again, for the first 4 months, is pretty consistent with where we have been in the past. The next page looks at the grant revenues for the same time period. Again, the second column, $36.6 million of a revised budget. And so far, we've collected about $7 million, still got almost $29.6 billion outstanding to remain to be collected before the end of the fiscal year. On the very next page deals with the revenues, and we break it out by funds because certain funds obviously have certain restrictions. And so when we look at our general fund for October 31st of 2022, if we look at those middle two columns again, revised budget and actual. So we've got a $43 million budget, and we've actually collected about $9.5 million of that, leaving about $33.4 million outstanding. The teachers fund, quite similar, again, about $35 million budgeted. So far, we've collected about $8.4 million. Debt service, $4.3 million budgeted, and we've actually collected about $1.7 million. Capital projects, $7.2 million budgeted, collected actually about $1.8 million. And food service, again, $3.4 million budgeted, collected about $1.2 million. On the expenditure side, same scenarios. So again, the general fund expenditures, the second two columns, again, revised budget and actual. So in the general fund, we budgeted about $42.8 million worth of expenditures. So far, we've spent about $11.1 million, and that's about a quarter of the way through the budget. And again, that's consistent with the first 4 months of the fiscal year. Same thing with the teachers fund, budgeted about $33.2 million. So far, we've actually spent about $8.9 million. Our long-term debt, again, budgeted about $3.3 million. We've spent about $371,000 through the end of October, and so forth. Again, That's how you would read those categories. Same thing with capital projects, $12.1 million and about $285,000 that we have spent so far, okay? A lot of those capital projects are those big ticket items that we're gonna be using ESSER dollars to cover. Food service revenues or expenditures, the same thing, 3.6 million. So far, we've actually spent about $1 million. And then the balances or the totals are there at the very bottom. I always like to present the last 2 pages, the revenues, and it looks at year over year. You know, where were we this time in 2020? Where were we this time in 2021 and now 2022? As you can see, if you start from right to left, we had about $6.7 million in 2020, about $4.8 million of revenues in 21. And then, of course, this year we're almost double the pace of last year. And again, a lot of that has to do with those federal dollars, those ESSER revenues that our district has received. The teachers fund, the same scenario, 7 million consistently, and we're up to about $8.4 million this year. Debt service is fairly consistent with the 756,000, 1.4 million, and then also this year at $1.7 million. And then again, I mentioned the capital projects and where we are with those. And of course, our food service revenues are up over last year. Remember last year we had concerns about food service revenues because a lot of our year was spent in COVID. So we missed out on some food service revenues for last year, but that's not an issue anymore. Our expenditures, again, if we look at the same scenario from 2020 going forward, and you will see a pretty consistent picture. $7.1 million in 2020, 7.9 million in 21, and over $11 million so far in expenditures in the general fund. Teachers fund, again, 6.1, 8.9, and roughly 8.9 as well. And again, the additional categories tell the same picture. So that is all the information I have to present. Are there any questions for me at this time?
I only have one. What is local under activities? What does that mean?
Which page?
Or there was one, page 4 or page, the last one you presented. It's the same location. Local activities fund. What does that mean?
Give me the page. I'm not seeing.
Page 6, and then up on page 4 as well.
At the bottom of the chart on page 6. That last section right.
Oh, okay, activities fund, okay, all right, so local, so all of our activities funds are local. So that's typically when the schools do certain fundraisers or projects and things. I know we all supported the Early Childhood Center in one of their fundraisers for the beaches candy, that kind of things. So those are the activity fundraisers that typically the schools put on. They have to turn in those revenues. They're all a local source here. You know, we don't get state or federally funded for those activities. So that's what goes into that category. So it's always a small pot of money.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item B is the data center upgrade. This is in compliance with CCIFGO technology infrastructure upgrade. And it is in compliance with policy DJF-2 purchasing. Making this presentation is Dr. Larry, and at the conclusion, we would ask approval later in this meeting. Dr. Larry.
Good evening, Dr. J.P.A., Special Administrative Board, colleagues. As my mother would say, best laid plans. I was not supposed to be here tonight, but as things will work out, the person who was going to do the presentation became ill. So, as we do, we get paid to do what we have to do. The data center, as you probably well know, is the brains of the technology in this district. On March 4th, we issued an RFP for a new data center. When I started in technology, the mainframe was the big thing. Then we moved to hybrid virtualization of servers.
And now we're moving toward the cloud. Two companies joined in and made a presentation, a proposal for consolidating the data center. Worldwide Technologies and Dell Incorporated. Both are highly regarded in the technology field. I've been using them in both like my last position in another district, and we've been using since we've been here. So we're very pleased with that. Initially, the proposed amount was $225,169.78. Since then, we've done some renegotiating and decided we can use fewer servers, do some storage, and use fewer of those, because we're moving more things to the cloud, and we just need more licenses. So we've been able to renegotiate to get the price down, and I'm sure the CFO will be pleased with this, $204,137.49. Again, we are consolidating hardware, creating more hybrid solutions, and moving most of our things that we can, data files, Active Directory to the cloud. So there's not really a need now to have a data backup center in case of disaster recovery, because we're moving things to the cloud. We already have Munis in the cloud. We already have a student information system in the cloud. Google is in the cloud. So we are halfway there. We're just trying to do a little bit more and become more progressive. Therefore, tonight we are presenting and asking that the board will allow us to make an agreement with Worldwide and Dell for that data center upgrade in the amount of $204,137.49. Although I am adding contingency amount just to be on the safe side, because we've gotten in buildings, we had some problems with asbestos and different things. I just want to be sure that I have to come back and say we need more money. Are there any questions?
Does this include the proposed renovation of the building at St. Cyr? And
No.
okay, so then when that happens, sometime next year again, that's going to be addition to this.
That's not, that won't come into play with the data center.
It will not come into play with the data.
The data center covers the district as a whole.
Yes.
So it's not by building.
I'm sorry.
It's like a hub.
I thought I closed this off. We all have been technical there. Because I could clear up this one. So I'm sorry, Trudy.
I was saying it's not pertinent to each building. It is a district hub for storage of data and things like that.
So when you were referring to as, you put contingency because you may run into asbestos or whatever. This is just in one location that you're going to renovate or you may going to.
Yes, it's actually downstairs.
It's this location?
Yes.
Okay.
But when we start drilling things in walls, sometimes I just want to be on the safe side.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item is the surplus technology equipment item. Also covering that item is Dr. Lair. And this is in compliance with policy DNC, surplus school property. Dr. Lair.
You may remember in September, we came with the first set of recyclable items. This is the next set. We've been in all the buildings and offices, finding any material, any items that were no longer working, not functioning, damaged on the network, pull those together. I have a company that we identified last time. We're going to use that same company. They are standing by ready to go in and remove these items from the buildings. And this time, Ms. Margaret, as we started doing the last few years, we now get paid for it. Initially, we wouldn't get, it's not much, but it is something. Ms. Margaret always asked that. Initially, we didn't get very much money. It didn't get any, in fact, the first 2 times. But now we will be paid for those items. And the CFO would like that too. Are there any questions about that item?
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because when I looked at the list, ooh, that's a lot of, and this is the second. I was trying to understand if this is the second group.
The second group, yes.
So do we, how often, I guess the question I want to ask is, how often, if somebody reports that something is no longer working, do they report it? Do they just wait for a while and then give it all to you at one time? Or can you kind of tell me how that works? Because this list was
Sometimes they wait,
exhausting.
because you remember, the request came initially last year, a couple of years ago, that I do this each year. So I
Right.
used to hold off doing it, so
Right.
now we do it each year. In fact, we place carts in every building
Good.
so that they can start storing the things, and when we go through, we get those out. The company is willing to come every month, but I assure them that I have to come before the board and
Right,
present those items
right,
before we can remove them. So we try to do it now, the beginning and the end of the year.
right, okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
The next item is 22-23 staffing plan adjustment, communication specialist. This item is in compliance with policy GBA, support staff positions. And it is recommended that the board approve the addition of the communication specialist. Making this presentation is Ms. Monica Williams, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues, and community. This item tonight will be for the 22-23 staffing plan adjustment. And as the district moves forward with rebranding and also improving communications, not only within the district, but with our stakeholders, it is important that we are able to increase the capacity of the communications department, because there's a lot that needs to be done. And so we're asking to add this position of a communication specialist to our communications department.
Thank you. The next item also being presented by Ms. Williams is the policy recommendation and the policy, this is in compliance with policy implementation and dissemination.
So this item for discussion is policy IGCE, which is non-traditional instruction options for K through 12 districts. And what this policy will do is it will provide the parameters for which students who enroll in non-traditional education programs, the school flex programs must follow. And these are the recommendations that were given to us from MSBA.
The next item is donations being made to the district. Coming forward with that item is Dr. Tanya Fadden, Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services. This is in compliance with CSIP goal, collaborative cultures, and policy K-8, public gift to school.
Good evening, SAD members, Dr. Jordan, colleagues, and community. As Dr. Jordan stated tonight, I bring before you the donations to our district for the months of October and November of 2022. Snyder Realty donated a little bit over $1,100 to Highland Elementary School for their 4th grade celebration. And the St. Louis County SRO Department donated $300 for Highland Elementary School's Oktoberfest celebration. There is an error. There is an additional donation on the chart. That donation hasn't come in yet. It's anticipated to come in December. Are there any questions?
Thank you. The next item is the memorandum of understanding also being presented by Dr. Tanya Fadden in this agreement with Ms. BJC. Dr. Fadden.
So this is an MOU that we are bringing forth to have an agreement with BJC to support our students with diabetes. We have many students in our district who suffer from diabetes. This MOU would be there to support them. The van would come to the school. They would make the appointments with the same students or students from one particular school and come to that school to support the students. It would also help to support the families as well as the employees within the building to support our students with diabetes. So I'm recommending that the SAB approve this MOU with Washington University. Are there any questions? Oh, and by the way, this is free of charge. Hallelujah, Ms. Moore.
I have my feet under here trying to sit here.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is the ESS Long-Term Sub Wellness Day, November 21st and 22nd. Making this presentation is Dr. Yvonne Singleton and Ms. Monica Williams, which is in compliance with BBBA Support Staff Week. And we will ask that this be approved at the administration.
Good evening again, Special Administrative Board. The next agenda item is the ESS Long-Term Subs Wellness Days. First of all, let us publicly say thank you to the SAB for allowing our district staff the November the 21st and 22nd as wellness days. I heard a lot of great reports about what people did on those days. Some people rested, but a lot of people took those days to heart as actual wellness days. So people did some time to take, yeah, that's it. That's what they were doing. Yeah. That's what I was going on. Thank you, Sheriff. But no, people did wellness related things. They did some self-care things. People got manicures, pedicures. They just really took some time to do some self-care. One of the groups that we inadvertently overlooked are our long-term subs. As you all recall, ESS employs our long-term subs, but they are employees of this school district, just like we are, okay? They're contractual employees, and we wanted to extend those same opportunities. I dare not stand before you and steal the credit. Mrs. Nade was very adamant. Ms. Nade, will you please stand? Mrs. Nade was very adamant about pushing this. And so I want to publicly give her credit. All I did was the paperwork, but she did a lot of the helping craft everything. And so we just feel that, and I know the board feels the same, that anybody that comes to these doors of Riverview Garden School District on a daily basis is a part of the team. And we wanted to extend the same courtesies to our long-term subs. And so we were able to get it at a reduced rate, which did not have the daily upcharges that our typical daily rates would. And so we wanted to present an item to allow us to extend that same opportunity to ESS so that the long-term subs would also be paid for those 2 wellness days as well. So are there any questions that I can ask at this time?
Not a question, but a comment on a lot of our long-term subs, teachers that retired and came back.
Yes.
That's all I need to hear.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I would just like to say thank you to all of you, and to Ms. Nate. It's so important as an educator, it's so important. Appreciate it. And I really appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate you for it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the discussion item.
We are now moving to item number 9, which is technically 9 and 10, and it's approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We will now move to item 11, which is items for action. We're going to start with number 1, the data center upgrade. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers? Item B, surplus technology equipment. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposer? Item C, ESS long-term sub wellness days. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers?
Not at all.
Thank you. Now we'll move to item 12 now, which is adjournment. Oh, we're a little early.
So,
May I have a motion?
So I do have a question, because if
Sure.
ask me real quick, and I just want full disclosure, because I want to make sure that we're not able to present to the bank. My nephew works for Worldwide Technology, so is that a problem?
He won't be reporting to you.
No, he doesn't, he won't even be, He's a
And
community.
he may not even be assigned to this.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
The full maintenance policy service agreement, will you approve that one tonight?
Is that on here? I didn't see it.
It's not down
It's
there.
referred.
Oh, you did ask earlier, I'm sorry. So restate that, what is that?
The MSBA.
Oh, MSBA,
Maintenance
yes.
policy Service
Don't
agreement.
tell them that I skipped that. Since I said on that committee. Oh, well. MSBA full maintenance agreement, may I have a motion? So, may I have a second? We will now move to item 12.
We gotta.
Oh, I got it.
Already said.
All in favor?
Now,
Now I can adjourn the meeting. Thank you. We'll move to item 12, which is adjournment. May I have a motion? May I have a second? All in favor? You are adjourned.
Oh, boy, really dragging it out here, you dragging it out.
Oh.